Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Fantasy Football Outpost. My name is Dallas. We are live for our second live stream ever. We're doing our positional mock drafts, and this is from position number 2. I'm slacking a little bit on these. Should have been spitting these out a lot faster, but I'm going to try to get the rest of them out over the course of the next week to try and get you guys ready to go. So these are going to be a little bit faster than you've seen in the first one. So basically, a quick explanation of what these are. They're positional mock drafts based on pretty standard roster settings. It is PPR, but it is pretty standard roster settings, basically having quarterback, the 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a tight end, and a flex, a kicker, and a defense. Now, if you're listening to my advice on this at all, we only do the first 12 rounds, so there will never be a kicker or a defense drafted, but they're there just to kind of give you a more realistic feel. That's how most people play, even though they're starting to come off of kickers most importantly, and then even defenses. So but we are live. We're going to go ahead and get this thing rolling. So begin. First pick off the board with the 1-1, David Johnson. Wow. Okay, well, that is very unrealistic. I don't see a scenario of that ever happening. So in this world, you can just pretend Saquon went 1 because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe we should just be truthful to it. You can have any one of the top guys here. I would have went Christian McCaffrey if Barkley's gone. I'm obviously going to go Saquon here because David Johnson went 1. If McCaffrey goes, you don't have to go McCaffrey. You can also go Kamara. If Elliott's here, I'm absolutely going Elliott if he's actually back. But as of right now, we're going to assume he's not. If we had to draft today, I'm not taking that risk, and I don't advise you do either, unless you're able to lock down Tony Pollard because he's looking pretty great. But that being said, if Tony Pollard is as good as people think he is and how good he's been playing, he may end up eating a little bit of that passing action that we are so hyped about with Ezekiel Elliott, so you could see him end up finishing 3rd or 4th anyway. So we're going to go ahead. Because they took David Johnson at the 1, we're going to be... I don't know if realistic's the word I want to use because realistically Saquon would have went, but just pretend you took any one of these 3. It should have been between these 2. You choose whichever one you want. I personally don't think it's that big of a difference. I would have went Christian McCaffrey, but obviously we're going to roll with it and take Barkley, but you can put that together however you need to. Oh, right off the bat we messed this up. Huh. Well, that works out. Let's go ahead and end the draft. That works out. So let's go ahead and go back. What's up? Draft boards. Should be, if I create it, well, it should be the same. I was going to have the settings of the one that I was doing for my NFL. Well, we'll set this up real quick. Little ill-prepared, I guess. PPR, 8 teams is what it should have been on. It's okay, though, because I need it switched to this anyway. So, oh, okay. PMD, positional mock draft, 8, and pick. Alright, PPR, we're doing 8 teams, 2 minutes a pick, CPU, all. I'm going to update that. Roster settings, we got a QB, running back, wide receiver. I'm doing 1 flex, doing defense, and also a kicker. Because in my home league, I actually was able to get everybody convinced to at least get rid of kickers and add another flex. But I'm going to do 8 bench spots. Should be 18. Update. All right, there we go. Now we're set. Sorry about that. A little bit of a delay, but let's go ahead and take that number 2 spot. Get this rolling. So 8-mans, you'll see your teams are absolutely stacked through the roof for those of you that play anything other than 8-mans. 8-mans can be fun, but they also can be a little wild. Everybody's team is stacked, so again, there we go. I like this better because it's actually a little more realistic. So now we're actually at our choice between these 2, and I'm taking Christian McCaffrey at the moment. Like I said, that changes with the weather with me. Depends on the circumstances. But right now I like Christian McCaffrey's just usage upside. I think Sin City actually pulled me a little bit away from that with his take on it. Is his really good point that he's going to be on the field at all times. So especially those ones that weren't even designed for him is going to end up going his way. Right here, and so this is actually a really good setup here. I like this because I can explain with my wide receivers that I had. I said in my top 10 wide receivers, Tyreek Hill is my number 3 receiver. But I would Juju Smith-Schuster is my number 4. And the thing about I love about this is like all these guys go before them, which these two I agree with. These 3 I have after them, and it works out because you always get a shot at these guys even later. So those of you that think, man, I missed out on these 3, in my opinion, these 2 are better. I don't. Tyreek Hill takes you on a roller coaster, so I completely understand taking one of these guys instead. But that's why I have Juju as my number 4, behind Tyreek as my number 2, or as my number 3. Sorry about that. Tyreek is my number 3, Juju is my number 4. But I take Juju over Tyreek because I think you will lose some weeks because of Tyreek Hill, because of those 8-point games he gives you. And then you'll have some where you absolutely blow it out of the water and destroy the other person you played against because he got you 40. So I like Juju's consistency a little bit better this year. I think he's going to be great. I think he's going to be better than Julio, Odell, and Michael Thomas. Hot take, I guess. I really think he's poised to have a great year. So we're going to go ahead and take Juju here. So now, when it gets back to us, this is a really hard decision here because a part of me wants to go ahead and lock down the second running back because you got Joe Mixon here. Absolutely is where I would go. But you also have Kerryon and Damian Williams. I like Damian Williams better than Kerryon, but I love Kerryon as well. So Damian Williams is starting to become a steal again because people are coming off of that. Thank God. So the guys, when it gets back to us, we're going to be looking at potentially Aaron Jones, Devonta Freeman if they slip, Melvin Gordon, Josh Jacobs, Marlon Mack. I see they're just too much talent to pass up on Joe Mixon. And these eight-man leagues, having a stacked running back core is usually what wins it for you almost every time. So we're going to go ahead and wait and see what comes back to us. The receivers that are coming up they're just fine. So here we've got lined up for us. Yeah, I'm perfectly okay taking Amari here. I think he's going to have a more consistent year. And that's my take with Amari. Somebody was asking me about that. I'm perfectly fine with Amari as my wide receiver 2. I don't want Amari as my wide receiver 1 in any scenario, really. But having him here in the 4th round, that's a great pick. And we'll turn right around and take one of these 2 running backs, whichever one's there. Oh, my God, they both went. Ha! That's literally the exact 2 I was talking about. But it's okay. So here's where you want to kind of reapproach the situation and see what we got. Now, earlier up here, if Travis Kelce would have slipped to the 3rd, I would have went that route there too. So now we're in a little bit of a pickle. Do we want to go ahead and get a third wide receiver or a running back? And here's where the 8-man leagues, this is why it's so crucial, is your flex position. If you draft somebody that's good enough to be a starting running back for someone else, but it's your flex, you're set. And that's why, as much as I like Julian Edelman, I like Brandon Cooks, I like Robert Woods, we're going to go running back here. And so then the conversation becomes, I'm not getting Melvin Gordon. I'm completely off that. I don't think he'll be back. But I think he'll full on take all the way until he has to come back, play those last few games, and leave. I think that's exactly how that situation is going to pan out. Unless they pay him before that, I don't see it being anytime soon. So I'm completely off Melvin Gordon. I just don't, even this late, I have no interest in that. So now it comes down to the conversation is between Marlon Mack and Chris Carson. I'm taking Marlon Mack because I absolutely love Marlon Mack this year, but don't sleep on Chris Carson. I think he's going to have a great year. I don't see any value in Rashad Penny, quite honestly. Maybe a deep league, potential flex starter every now and then, in a 12-team deep. I definitely don't see it in any other situation, though. So now we're looking at what wide receivers have failed to us, and this actually works out great. So here is one where a lot of people are going to think I'm crazy for. Maybe, I don't know. Between these 2, to kind of simplify and explain to you what I'm looking at, Chris Godwin and Tyler Lockett. You could throw in an argument for maybe Tyler Boyd here too. I'm not a Calvin Ridley guy, but if you are, you can go that route too. I think you absolutely go receiver here though and round it out because your top wide receiver or running backs in right here, Sonny Michel and maybe Tevin Coleman, and I think you can get either one of those with your next pick. So I think we're going to go, this is where people might say I'm crazy. They absolutely think Chris Godwin's the one. Not the one, but they think Chris Godwin is who you should have taken there. I am very, very high on Chris Godwin, but I am just as high on Tyler Lockett. Tyler Lockett is a wide receiver 1. You've been keeping up preseason. That's where Russell Wilson keeps looking. He's got a perfect quarterback rating with him last year. They sync together. He's moved to the slot. This is PPR, so he's going to be amplified. If this wasn't PPR, I would probably go Chris Godwin there, but it is PPR, and I'm absolutely going Tyler Lockett because I think he's going to get the volume. Now, we could technically get Chris Godwin as well here, but these are depth players, and there's nothing better than having depth at running back. And I think you're going to go ahead and lock down the person that has fallen way too far down the list, and that's Sonny Michel. And Sonny Michel is one of the only guys that I say you absolutely have to lock down Damian Harris, like the handcuff for, and you're fine if you do. So here, this is a steal and a half to get Evan Ingram right here this late. Absolutely take that. Evan Ingram's the last tight end that I even consider there. So now we're looking, and here's where Baker Mayfield's my number 3 quarterback. I typically would probably end up pulling the trigger here, but for tutorial purposes, those of you that aren't as high on Baker Mayfield, I'm showing you can wait on quarterback. You don't need it right now at all. He's the last one I would take a shot at. It goes Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Baker Mayfield, Deshaun Watson, then Andrew Luck for me, but Andrew Luck's slipping for everybody, including myself. So we'll just see how that lines up by the time it gets here. So now I'm looking back. Well, first I'm going to look at running back. What's the best that we're left with? Because you always want to get as much depth here as you can. And it looks like Latavius Murray is probably the last valuable one, besides however far down you have to go before you can snag a where's he at? Yeah, Kalen's way down here in round 12, so we're fine. That's about the last 2 that are really valuable. Royce Freeman is another decent one. I think we went past him too at one point, but I think you absolutely look wide receiver here. And if you're looking wide receiver here, I think the easy, obvious one is Alshon. Now, that's one player that I still don't understand at all why he's fallen so far. But if let's say you are one of those non-Alshon believers, you go Robbie Anderson, Curtis Samuel, or Mike Williams there. Any one of those 4, Alshon's Alshon Jeffrey. He's always been a very talented guy. He gets the touchdowns. He gets you almost 1,000 yards. He doesn't quite, and he may get you that this year with a healthy Carson Wentz, and then being able to spread it around a little more. I don't see Ertz having the year that he had last year. I see Alshon being a complete steal with how late he's going. So now that it's back around to us again, now is where I start looking, do I want to take a quarterback, or can I wait on the quarterback I want? Now, the quarterback I personally want is right down here, and that's Cam Newton. So we're going to wait again because we'll be just fine without it. Now you want to take a look at your team. We got 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs and 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. And so do we have any running backs here that we really want? If you're a Darius Guice fan, take him here. If you're a Darrell Henderson fan, take him here. I'm not a fan of either of them. I'm not an Allen Robinson fan. Where I start to get interested is Larry Fitzgerald and D.D. Westbrook, and I'm going D.D. Westbrook here because I think he's got a great opportunity. But the great part about it is you really don't have to pick because you can take them both if you want. I'm going to hold off just a second to kind of look around. You always want to use up. You have your time for a reason. Now, obviously, if you know who you want, don't use every second of it. It just drives everyone else crazy. Yes, you're entitled to it, but if you know who you want, take them, move on. But we're going to take a step back. The obvious pick here is Larry Fitzgerald, in my opinion. But there's a few things you can consider here. So what you have here is Vance McDonald. I think he's going to get you more points than Larry Fitzgerald. It's a very good chance, but I don't see it happening. And then you also have, if you're Team Geronimo, but I'm more Marquez Valdez-Scantling down here. Somebody you can wait on, take a little bit later. But for tutorial purposes, we're going to go one more round. Or we don't have to go one more round. I can just explain what I would do later on. So here, I'm going to go ahead and solidify that by taking Larry Fitzgerald. We'll let things run through. When it gets back to us, you'll see, as long as there's not a team that steals them from us. There we go. We're going to finish this off by taking Cam Newton. And then when it gets back to us, now what you do here is there's 2 things. You got to pay attention to the fact that you drafted Sonny Michel. And so you want to go down and see, where is Damian Harris? Harris is probably pretty deep, but we still want to look. So he looks like round 17 where you can get him way down here. So you can wait a few more rounds, but you definitely want to make sure you lock that down. Here's where, if we were to keep going, you definitely take Kalen Ballage here and lock that down. But that's so right off the bat, our stack, if we go ahead and pause the draft here. And again, we're ignoring defenses and kickers. I don't take those till tail end because you get value all over the place. I actually got rid of kickers because they're so pointless in my home league. But defenses, you can absolutely wait. I think the best option is to always stream defenses and then play the matchups. But let's go ahead and look at our team. So we've got right here, we don't even have to go down here to the bench just yet. We've got Cam Newton at the quarterback. I have him as my QB6. That was the big reach in my top QBs, but I have a lot of faith in him this year. But then we have our running back stack of Christian McCaffrey and Joe Mixon. My number 3/4, if Ezekiel Elliott's there, I said it was a 1A, 1B situation at 3 between McCaffrey and Kamara. Either way, you can just say RB3 on the list. And then Joe Mixon is my running back 7, I believe it was. Yeah, he was number 7 behind Le'Veon. So I got 2 top 10 running backs. And then, in my opinion, I got my number 4 wide receiver to stack up with it. Amari Cooper is an absolute steal with where we got him. What was that, like round 5? Or 4, yeah. Almost round 5. Probably could have, he was right at the top. Either way, that's a great pick there to round out. I love Amari Cooper this year if he's a wide receiver 2, not if he's a 1. Too inconsistent for me to feel comfortable with him at my 1. But if he's my number 2, and then I can back it up with some good backups, I'm perfectly content having him. So, next, Evan Ingram. I think he's poised to have a great year this year. Probably my tight end 4. I haven't came out with an official list, just because I do think he's got less competition than O.J. Howard, so I put him right above O.J. Howard. In a lot of my drafts at my position in my home league, I pick 3rd, and when it comes back, I get Mike Evans, so a lot of times I won't take O.J. Howard, so maybe that sways it a little bit, but if you completely take bias out of it, I think Evan Ingram is going to be better anyway, slightly, but I think it's close. Those are the last 2. After that, I'm waiting all the way for Vance McDonald, or even later for like a Mark Andrews or a Greg Olsen or Jordan Reed, somebody like that you don't have to spend a lot of high capital on, because I mean, Jared Cook maybe. I'm not a Hunter Henry guy. I'm not on that team. I don't know what he did to make everybody think he was just this golden child that everybody loves. I went back and even looked at his stats just to see, like, what did I miss? And if we go back and look right here, he had an 11-point game. Oh, that's projected. Oh, this is the app. Okay. This, what they've got it projected, is basically what he's done, though. Like, he's get you 11 and 10. Like, I've never seen any of those crazy breakout games where people are like, oh my gosh, he's insane. And then he got hurt and he's coming off of the injury. I really have no idea why he's so high up the board. Maybe people are just talking about potential with Antonio Gates being gone. I get that. And he very well could. People have a tendency of speaking these things into existence. And so, who knows? Maybe he ends up being good. And if so, great. You snagged him at a great pick. I'd rather wait and get some more value there. I mean, look at who goes around him. You got Mike Williams. We took Alshon that round. Miles Sanders if he slips. You got Curtis Samuel, Robbie Anderson, Pettis. I mean, Burke even right there. Like, I think the talent around him is too much for me to. Even Baker right there. If you're going that route, the talent is too much around him for me to even consider him. But so we got Evan Ingram, Marlon Mack at the flex, who is good enough to be an RB2 for most people. And if you have that as your flex, you're set. You go down here. We took Tyler Lockett, which, again, that's what I said, makes you feel a little more comfortable with Amari Cooper, because if he goes down for whatever reason or is too inconsistent for your liking, you can just slide Lockett right up. Sonny Michel, and what I was getting at is right down here, you're going to make sure you lock down Damian Harris, and Sonny Michel becomes a perfectly safe pick, because they're both basically the same player. Who knows? Some people think Damian Harris is more talented. I think those people are forgetting how good Sonny Michel is. And I get he's got the injury history, and that's why they took Damian Harris. So that's why you just lock it down. You solidify it with that. But Sonny Michel's out there killing it right now in camp. Alshon, still don't understand why he's as low as he is. Any other year he's a round 4 pick, and now he's like around 7, 8, 9. Don't ask me. That's one I genuinely don't understand. D.D. Westbrook, wide receiver 1 for the Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't see that going anywhere. Larry Fitzgerald is going to be a PPR monster again, especially with the new offense and them trying to run so many plays. And him being as good as he is, he's going to be a focal point on that offense, and he's just still getting him that late. So, yeah, round 11. I mean, so I think that's great all in all. So I love our team that we got here. So that's going to be our 8-man. So let's go ahead and resume. Now end. All right, so that was our 8-man. So you're going to see they change dramatically as you go on. So go ahead and go back. Go to create a draft board. Edit the settings. It's going to be 10 team. That 10 team. Pick 2. Update. Should be good now. Now it's 10. Let's take that second spot again. I said these are going to be pretty much the same every time. We might mix it up and take Kamara once just to kind of explain to you that you can go with whoever you believe in more. So, go ahead and begin. Take one first. We'll take Kamara with the last. Well, we'll take Kamara in this middle one just guys. So, like I said, doesn't matter. Wow. 6 got a steal and a half. Goodness gracious. You'll see how much things change. So, like, our second pick, we took Juju should be flying off any second. If he falls, that oh my God, yes, that's the easiest pick in the draft. I'm so tempted to go Joe Mixon here, but you don't need to. And so oh my God, people are reaching on these running backs. That's crazy. A 10 team, okay. That's that almost makes me want to pass up and take Joe Mixon, but Juju's too good in my opinion this year. I drafted him as my third wide receiver. No, I have him listed 4th. Joe Mixon almost made it back to us. That would have been crazy. But I'm gonna go down, take Damian Williams, no brainer. I don't like doing the running back and then wide receiver stack. I think running backs are too talented, and I think you need to lock them down early. It's just a recipe for success, and always has been, to be usually the person with the best running backs in the league. If they're not the league champion, they're in the playoffs. It's like a not guarantee, but it's, as long as everyone's healthy, it's one of the most successful paths to the playoff. So now that it got back to us, easy pick here. Like I said, same thing, locking down those running backs. And now, easy pick enough, we get to our third one, and now here's where, see, you got Tyler Lockett down here too. That's crazy that he's still hanging around. But I don't know. I could be going against what I said in the last one. I'm pretty sure Brandon Cooks and Robert Woods were gone already when I got back, and those two are the two I like. If I misspoke, I like both of those better than Chris Godwin as well. But I like Tyler Lockett better than Chris Godwin and then Chris Godwin. But I like Edelman over all of them. But Edelman's obviously gone. For me, it goes Julian Edelman, then Amari Cooper, then Robert Woods, Brandon Cooks, Tyler Lockett, Chris Godwin for this range, guys. And so I actually don't have Stephon Diggs before that either. I have him back here too. And Thielen. I have Thielen and Cooper as like the same player. People disagree with that one. I understand it. I get the hype around Thielen, and if he ends up showing us what he did at the beginning of the year last year, absolutely sign me up for that every day of the week. But the second half of the year was so bad that it's got me very hesitant about taking him in anything. I usually end up taking running backs around where he goes anyway. So, all right. Now that it's made its way back to us again, we are going to look and see what we have here. So here's kind of where, if there's one player, only one QB I would reach for here, and that's Aaron Rodgers, then he goes. And that's the only, because he's my number 2. So like I said, and for tutorial purposes, we're pushing it back. We're waiting on QBs to let you see. So here in round 6, what I've been doing if I don't get Aaron Rodgers is this is where I lock down the Evan Ingram or OJ Howard. And Evan Ingram's still there, so that's who we take. Great pick. You want to solidify that position. If you miss that, you just need to wait. So here is where it gets a little interesting. We've got 2 wide receivers and 3 running backs. Do we want to solidify our wide receivers by taking another one? And I say no, actually, because the value for running back falls off so hard, and we've still got a couple really, really good ones sitting here. And that's why this one here, I'm going to explain why I'm not taking Austin Eckler here, is because Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders is rising up the boards fast. He's going to end up being I think he'll end up taking the job and being a 3-down back in Philly. And I think you're going to see kind of a gadget guy use out of Sproles, and Jordan Howard's going to turn into kind of a reliever. You could see a situation where Jordan Howard's your thorn in my thorn topics that I'm talking about. But I think Miles Sanders moving up. Eckler is going to be great, but I'm hearing it's a 50-50 split between him and Justin Jackson already. And the second Gordon's back, neither one of them are useful. I mean, Eckler is still a little bit for the PPR reasons, but Gordon's so good in the catching game too that it just ultimately that's why I have a tiebreaker here between these two. You could even consider Cohen for his PPR, but I think David Montgomery's going to end up taking over all the roles there, and Cohen's going to be a reliever on the PPR side, or he may even be out there together. So I absolutely say Miles Sanders right here to lock that down. We've got a fantastic running back core here, so anytime we have a bye week with any one of these three, we still have a strong running back four to where we have three strong running backs starting at all times. Now it's back to us. Now we absolutely want to get a wide receiver here, and none other than, I'm actually kind of glad he slipped because the Robbie Anderson here fell. Yeah, you can see here, this is way different outcome. Alshon was way ahead of all these guys, so that's what I was saying. Like, I don't know why he's as late as he is in some formats, but now we're going to go ahead and take us Curtis Samuel. There are a lot of rumors coming out that he's got a good chance of being the wide receiver one there over DJ Moore. DJ Moore, if you guys are curious, right here, going in round 6, 2 rounds earlier, possibly 3 if I waited a little bit. And so now, sorry guys, my phone's going crazy. Let me make sure it's not actually somebody needing something. Okay, no, it's just my phone buzzing. My wife texted me, but phone buzzing, saying it's my pick because obviously I have the app on my phone. By far the best draft app you can use. Or just platform in general, not even just draft. The leagues are so much better too. So here, now it gets a little interesting. So we've got what? 3 wide receivers, 4 running backs. Take a look and see what is going to be coming back to us. So here's where we're going to be risking it because I really, really want Cam Newton. I'm going to try to play the game of waiting. And I'm okay with missing him and taking Goff if we have to. So that's why I'm waiting. But the ones that will make it back, we're playing a risky game here. I think we're looking at our wide receivers, and we need to solidify that a little bit better, and I'm going to go ahead and go DD here. I like DD Westbrook better than Larry Fitzgerald, but we're going to see how things roll off. I'm not a Sterling Shepard guy at all. Sammy Watkins this late, maybe around 10. I take Larry over him too. So, and here you can see the first defense starting to come off the board. I don't know if we've seen that last time. So, we lucked out, and Cam Newton did make it to us. So here, I go ahead and take him in the 10th round. That's what I said. All that value you get starting here for if you wait for Aaron Rodgers, you got Evan Ingram, Miles Sanders, Curtis Samuel, DD Westbrook, and then still got a great quarterback. Like, lose any one of those because you took a quarterback that early. That's so much good depth right there. That's just too risky to miss on for me. So now we are going to look and see, did he go? Unfortunately, Kalen Ballage went and Royce Freeman went. So, in my opinion, the running back talent has officially fallen off of its cliff. I like Devin Singletary. That's why we may try to wait on him. I really like Matt Breida as well. So, those two are kind of the last tail end. And Peterson. Sorry, I forgot about that. Those are like our last tail end guys. So, see which one of those we can get when it comes back around. So, we're going to go ahead and go wide receiver again. And I think one of the biggest steals in the drafts this year is Marvin Jones. As long as he's healthy, he is dealing with a little bit of something right now. Keep an eye on Emmanuel Sanders if he's good too, but we're going to go Marvin Jones here. As long as he's healthy, I think that's a snag. I think him and Kenny Golladay are going to end the year almost virtually the same, and you get so much more value out of Marvin Jones. What's Kenny Golladay go? Let's see here. Kenny Golladay went at the 5-5, and we took Marvin Jones in the 11th round, 6 rounds later. That's just ridiculous. Oh, man, what a snag. Devin Singletary went 1 pick before us here, so that's who I would have drafted because I think he's your Nick Chubb this year. I think he's going to take over that role and be that guy at the end of the year, kind of like Nick Chubb did once they traded Carlos Hyde. Even it could happen sooner if they trade LaShawn McCoy before then, but I see Devin Singletary definitely being that guy. So sucks he went, so we're going to go ahead and take Breida here because I see a world where him and Coleman are both relevant, especially with Jerick McKinnon not being around. And getting him that late is just a depth guy. It's absolutely great. And that's the thing. It's why he's one of my sleepers is because of how late you can get him. Let's go ahead and look at our team. Cam Newton, Alvin Kamara again instead of Christian McCaffrey. We mix it up a little bit. Damian Williams. So this is again RB3/4, whichever one. And then Damian Williams, as long as everything's fine, he's my RB8. Actually, I'm super high on him this year, and I love seeing him falling further and further down the board. Like, look at it. Like, Carry-On's going before him now. Todd Gurley's going before him. Dalvin's going before him. Nick Chubb's going before him. Chubb's not even in my top 10 because of the second half of the year. But that first half, he's going to eat. So, I mean, that's one of those where you can't go wrong with that because it's going to get you into the playoffs. You just got to make sure you solidify after that. If so that when he ultimately does die down, when Kareem Hunt shows up, then you've got somebody you can put in instead and move him down to the flex or bench depending on how hard he gets hit from it. I've explained that whole situation multiple times though. We won't get into that here, but Joe Mixon almost came to us. But Juju Smith-Schuster again, same thing. I have him as my wide receiver 4. We got Brandon Cooks. I love Brandon Cooks. Robert Woods as my wide receiver 2 this year. I was not expecting. I guess 8-man league Amari was able to be our wide receiver 2, but that usually does not happen. We got Evan Ingram, like I said, one of the tail end best tight ends that's there. After that, it's a big separation after OJ Howard. Josh Jacobs could potentially end up being a top 10 guy this year. With his potential and his opportunity, he's going to eat to have that just absolute workhorse right here trio of running backs, and then you solidified it with Miles Sanders. If he ends up in the same boat, you're doing great. This would have been an absolutely fantastic draft in mine where we got rid of kicker and had 2 flexes. I'd have Miles Sanders and Josh Jacobs right here. That'd be great. And then Curtis Samuel, I love his opportunity this year. D.D. Westbrook, exact same thing. Marvin Jones, exact same thing. And then Matt Breida, I mean, all of this is just full-on potential that's looking better, more good than bad. And so this is absolutely love this roster we're able to create here. I can see we haven't been forced to take the whole wide receiver route yet, so we'll see how 12-man works out for us. Let's go ahead and resume. And in the draft, go back. Do one more. Here, draft settings. 12-man, 12 teams. Update. All right, we're updated. Stop here. Claim number 2. Go ahead and begin. Now, I have seen that a few times. It's not realistic. Like David Johnson going 1 was not ever happening. I have seen that before. If that's your league and that's what happens, no brainer. Get your Saquon. He's my number 1 in any and all formats. So if you can get him at number 2, that's, yeah, absolutely sign me up for that. Here you can see our number 2 pick should go somewhere right in here. We'll see. There he goes. So that's been our number 2 and first of them. So you can see how much different the landscape looks when it gets back to us. See, this is even worse because Mike Evans is one I hope for here. But it's okay because I have Antonio Brown being fine. The whole helmet situation is going to get sorted. I think you're going to be just fine there. I would love to take Kerryon Johnson here. Actually, as a matter of fact, I need to look and see. There's 5 guys that I'm okay with here. And that's... Okay, so Damian Williams is still there. So let's hope we can get him. Hopefully neither one of these 2 go. I take Damian over Kerryon, but we'll see who falls to us. We're taking Antonio here. Oh, God, that's what I was afraid of. So, but it's okay. You don't know what's going to happen in your leagues. And so here, this is where I'm getting forced into when it gets back to us in our next pick, what are we looking at? So the best running backs, we're looking at Mark Ingram, Philip Lindsay, Tom Michelle, and this is where you have to reach. You absolutely have to. That running back value is too strong. That's why we're going to go ahead and go down some, and we're going to take the next best guy, in my opinion, on this list. You could argue if Aaron Jones is that guy, if Aaron Jones 100% gets the 3 down back, he's the one that's going to get it. There, Jamal Williams is out of the picture. Not out of the picture completely, obviously, and he's healthy. I absolutely say take Aaron Jones here, so things are looking better. But if I'm drafting today, I'm moving on down here and taking somebody I have more faith in his opportunity. Taking Josh Jacobs. He's like just outside my top 10. He's like right there with Nick Chubb for me, but Nick Chubb went first round now, so that's for me. For those guys that I have a high value on, or lower value on, but people had high value on and take them, those are just as good of a pick if it fell to me as them taking them early, because that means somebody else slipped. All right, now it's back at us at the 4. Here we absolutely take a wide receiver. Unfortunately, that entire squad right there that I love went, and that's why Chris Godwin becomes your no-brainer. I'm not on that Kenny Golladay train or the Cooper Kupp. I literally have a picture saved in my phone of Cooper Kupp's injury just to remind myself that it is not natural to come back that fast from something that bad. And so to stay off that hype train, in my opinion. So here, we're going to, like I said, you want to solidify that running back. James White's going to be a PPR monster, but I still think Sonny Michel's that guy. If Sonny Michel would have been gone here, I think you go Tevin Coleman here. We're taking Sonny, same boat. We'll look and see in a 12-man about where Damian Harris is going. Let's go ahead and switch this over. Oh no, because that messes up the list. Damian Harris is right here in between my round 11 and round 12. So you guys will actually see the strategy of backing Sonny Michel up with Damian Harris in this one. All right. That's made it all the way back to us. Here's where we're going to actually really shock that slip. And I'm perfectly okay with it. We're taking Austin Eckler for sure because Miles Sanders did go right there. Austin Eckler is absolutely great potential, especially if you can trade him early on while he's killing it. And looking around here, you got both O.J. Howard and Evan Ingram went. And so we're going to, like I said, we're going to wait and take our tight end later. I'm not a Hunter Henry guy. If you are, this is where you take him. If you're on that Hunter Henry train, if he's here, you take him because if he's included in that group for you, the gap is still there. I think he's part of that gap. But for those of you that do like him, that's where you go. But I'm not a fan of him. I'm taking Eckler here. Going to loop back around, and let's see. Now we need to get another wide receiver. Not Allen Robinson fan. Not on that train. I really like Pettis, but I do like Curtis Samuel a little bit better, and I think that's the route we're going to go here. We're going to take Curtis Samuel. I'm going to look through and make sure. I'm pretty sure Alshon went right before. Yeah, so we're going to lock down Curtis Samuel here as our wide receiver 3. Again, this is somebody coming off the bench. Our flex is going to be Sonny Michel or Austin Eckler. So this is somebody just to fill in. If he ends up being that guy, he could potentially work his way up as a flex for us. So we're going to see. Look, these QBs are flying. Cam may not make it to us. Looks like he will, though. Barely. Sweet. So Cam Newton did make it to us. That's who we're going to go ahead and take here. At the 8. Makes our number 9 pick pretty easy. Well, we've got 4 running backs, so we really need to take a wide receiver here. Because when it gets back to us, that list of wide receivers are still decent, but it's not. I think you got a tail end really good wide receiver here. Even though I love Kalen Ballage, I think we've solidified our running backs. You could have gotten rid of Eckler for another wide receiver and been Ballage here and been just fine. But we're going to go ahead and go. Make sure I'm not overlooking anybody. Yeah, we're going to go ahead and go. That's another thing. You want to kind of keep an eye on that Damian Harris situation. It looks like our next picks will be when we end up locking him down. Let me make sure. I didn't miss that. Did he go? I'm definitely overlooking him. Haven't seen Terry Carlos Hyde. Peyton Barber. Usually right here, Adrian. There he is. Okay. So something you want to always keep your eye on when you draft Sonny Michel. I can't emphasize that enough. It makes that pick 10 times better. It's the only one that I think you absolutely need that handcuff for. So here we're taking Marvin Jones. I think there's a big difference between him and the next wide receivers there. We got our quarterback. Like I said, I love Cam Newton this year, but if I were to take that risk and missed out on him, I'm taking Jared Goff. Perfectly okay with that. If I miss both of them, I'm taking Jameis. You can see Jameis just went there. So that's why I said you don't have to reach for these guys. There's no sense in it. And so now we're still able to wait for our Damian Harris. We can see our teams lining up right now. We've got 1, 2. I know it says it right here, but the flex kind of throws things off. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4 running backs and 1, 2, 3, 4 wide receivers. So here's where we want to take a look and see what we're looking at here. We're about to get another running back with Damian Harris. Do I want to double stack that? Or let's see what's coming back to us at 12 at wide receiver, because we do still need a tight end. But like I said, where we're waiting, we can wait a while on tight end because we're going to be just fine. And so where's the we're perfectly fine on tight end right now. So we look here. I think you shoot that shot on Josh Gordon, honestly. Especially considering he could end up being, when he's healthy and actually is mentally healthy as well and playing, he is a stud. But you just never know what you're getting out of him. But I think you got more potential for him than you do Matt Breida, even though I love Matt Breida. We're going to take Josh Gordon here, kind of lock that down, only because, well, Breida went anyway, only because we are absolutely going to go ahead and solidify that Sonny Michel pick right there in the 11th round. And that for me personally, makes me a lot more comfortable with the fact that I took Sonny Michel. And so here with our last pick, we're going to go ahead and get our tight end, and you will see that as soon as it loops back around to us, see what our team looks like. And you don't even necessarily have to take your tight end here. You can wait, but you definitely can't wait to the next one because then it falls off a complete cliff. But the tight end that I like here, there's two of them, and that's Mark Andrews and Greg Olsen. I've seen myself a lot of times taking both. I'm taking Greg Olsen and backing him up with Mark Andrews, but you can also go the Kyle Rudolph route. But I've got high hopes in Greg Olsen. Plus, you got that stack with Cam Newton there, so that's fine. And let's just pretend we're still going. Justin Jackson's still here if you don't have Eckler. That's a great pick too, but you look kind of around. I think Tony Pollard, if you have Zeke, is one of the only other handcuffs that I think makes Zeke make perfect sense if you're able to get both, but you got to make sure no one else in your league knows that's what you're thinking, otherwise it's kind of pointless. So nonetheless, we are going to stop it there. Let's go over here. Take a look at our team. We've got, right here in our 12-team league, we've got Cam Newton. We were able to get Saquon Barkley at the 2, which is a huge advantage on its own. And so, like, that's just great. In any league that you can get your hands on Saquon Barkley, you do it. And so the guy that was first wasn't smart enough to take it. That's what I said. I don't say smart enough because if you truly have faith in some of these other guys, then do it. I mean, there's a lot of people that think Saquon's going to see these stacked boxes and isn't going to thrive, but I use that as an argument for him where as soon as he busts through those, and he will, he's going to have plenty of times, that just increases his chance of these breakaway touchdowns for 80 yards. Like, they all push the line. If he gets through that, there's no one behind it. I mean, some safety's not going to take him down in the open field. He's going to either break it or juke him out. He's just too good. So I think he's just fine. Plus, eventually, those wide receivers are all going to be healthy, unsuspended, and you're going to have to pay a little bit of respect to other areas. You're not going to be able to just stack it. And he did great last year against eight stacked boxes. I mean, people did it last year to him, and he still thrived. So then we got Josh Jacobs as our 2. We really wanted Carry-On or Damian Williams, but we reached a little bit because I'm not on the train here. Leonard Fournette, not at all. Devontae Freeman, not over him. I love David Montgomery, but I have him behind Josh Jacobs as well. So if Josh Jacobs is falling behind all these guys, sign me up. Aaron Jones would have been our guy there if he's healthy. If he's healthy and it looks like he's got that job. But if not, Josh Jacobs is right after Aaron Jones, or right before Aaron Jones. Just flip-flop them depending on Jones' situation. Antonio Brown, like I said, I know he's got all the drama going on with him. He did report to practice today, so that's very, very good news. And on top of that, he's the one I take after Mike Evans. Mike Evans didn't fall to us, so we take Antonio Brown. He's our wide receiver 9. I'm perfectly okay with that. Plus, his upside is he could finish the top guy. I mean, he's Antonio Brown. So if things work out and nothing's changed, then you just struck gold. Taking somebody that has went number 1 in drafts for years and in the top 5 for years. And then suddenly gets traded to another team, and now you're getting him at the tail end of the 2nd round in a 12-team league. That's amazing. So if that works out, that's fantastic value. Chris Godwin, like I said, it seemed as though I was down on him. I'm not down on him at all. I just like these guys better. This group right here, and that him included, I like better. I have him and Stephon Diggs on the same kind of, maybe Diggs a slight edge to him, but I don't have Diggs above any of these guys. I think every single one of these, probably Diggs and Tyler Lockett are on the same field, and then Chris Godwin's right after that, if I had to be honest. And then T.Y., if Luck's healthy, and that's why T.Y.'s falling. If Luck's healthy, T.Y.'s past that. Adam Thielen, I have him and Cooper on the same board. So I'm fine with Antonio Brown. Chris Godwin is a great stack there. Greg Olsen, just fine with that as my tight end because we weren't able to get one of the 2 that we love here. And we weren't able to get Vance McDonald is the next one that I like. But he's risen so far on boards, I'm not taking him in the 7th round. I liked him back when I could get him in the 9th and 10th. But in the 7th, I'm completely out on that. I'm not interested. I think I just wait, take Greg Olsen. If he doesn't work out, you just drop him. Make sure you solidify it with, like right here, you got your Jordan Reeds, your Kyle Rudolph, your Mark Andrews. Yeah, I mean, you're perfectly. I think after that's when you kind of start falling off. Jimmy Graham in a very, very, very deep thing, but he's apparently got an injury now. And then we got Sonny Michel, and I think you guys need to remember what Sonny Michel was capable of last year, and look at the fact we got Damian Harris as well. So you lock down basically that Sonny Michel role and as your flex, so you're set. I think that's a great stack right here at the starting lineup. And then on your bench, you got Austin Eckler, who could potentially do so well at the beginning that he's your flex. It just kind of depends on that situation. If Gordon ends up getting traded, Austin Eckler's a steal. Curtis Samuel could end up being a wide receiver 1 there. Marvin Jones, I think, is just as good as the wide receiver 1 there. It's going to be the same boat. Josh Gordon is the wide receiver 1 there if he actually plays. I think he's slightly above, if he's healthy and playing, above Julian in standard. I like Julian better in PPR, so Julian Edelman. So, but that being said, you're fine. I know it looks like, oh God, you have a million New England players. This is the thing I hate about handcuffs is Sonny Michel and Damian Harris are one player. It's just a safety net is all it is. If you want to look at it that way, we've got 2 Patriots players. The only other ones that are worth it there's only 4 on the team, 5 technically if you take Sonny Michel that are even relevant. That would be Sonny Michel with Damian Harris. You pair those, that's 2. And James White is 3, Julian Edelman's 4, and Josh Gordon's 5. And that's not in a particular order either. Of those, Julian Edelman's the most valuable one. So, but that being said, I do like how these drafts went out. That was the 12. That is our second position for these positional mock drafts. Thank you guys. Thank you guys so much for showing up for this. Like I said, I shortened these up. It did take a little bit longer than I wanted, but I did shorten them. Try to get a little bit faster on the next one too. Try to get all these out before everybody starts drafting this next weekend. It should be when you're drafting, this next weekend or the weekend after. If you're drafting already, I'm sorry. Stuff just changes too much. I don't think it's a good idea, but if you are, then so be it. I mean, you do whatever it is that you think is best for you and your league as a commissioner, if you're the one making that decision. But I always feel after the third, like this next Sunday is the golden day for it, for draft. So I'm going to try to get all these out for you guys in the next couple of days. There might be a few doubles. This week's podcast episode is going to be one of these as well because we're trying to get them all finished. And but it's going to be our podcast format. That we'll be working on that tomorrow, or not tomorrow, Wednesday. So, and it'll be up Thursday. But nonetheless, thank you guys so much for watching. That is going to be it, and we will see you on the next one. This is the Fantasy Football Outpost. My name is Dallas, and thank you for watching. Bye.